This week's Parsha is Beshalach. It's in the beginning, pretty much, of the book of Exodus, and it recounts the ultimate miracles, the splitting of the Sea of Reeds for the Jewish people. The Alter Rebbe in the section of Tanya called Shar Yichud explains something very interesting. He says that while it's true that the splitting of the Sea of Reeds was a big miracle, in fact, generally it's accepted it's the biggest miracle that ever took place in the history of creation, still, if you were to consider for a second the animation of this world, you would see that really that's a much greater miracle, and that God creates everything at all times constantly from nothingness, from absolute nothingness. And if you consider the nature of an object thrown up in the air, says Alter Rebbe, the minute the force that propelled it upwards is extinguished, as it were, the object will slow down, of course, right away, and then it'll start to come back down. So similarly with creation of the world, God is creating everything right now. There's a pasuk in Tehillim brings the Elam Hashem Derech Nitzav B'Shamayim. Forever, God, your words stand in the firmament, in the heavens. And this was the explanation of Baal Shem Tov about the creation of the worlds in general. That the Seres Adibros, Seres Maimarim, the 10 utterances that created the world. Those 10 utterances are eternal, and they're going on right now. And this creation is taking place right now. This is why Baal Shem Tov was able to redact the concept of Shkacha Pratis, divine providence, that it affects everything equally, at all times in all places, and it's something that's eternal and constant. So in light of that, people always say, how come miracles don't happen today? And the Alter Rebbe, I think, came to answer this question by just opening our eyes to the fact that, in fact, the fact that we are sitting here and that we're, seemingly physical beings, this itself is a great miracle. In fact, this is a physical reality. This in itself is a great miracle because God's creation is from absolute nothingness. It's in this realm it's in this manner that Chassidim is one of the things they realize to make themselves happy, is that we're a miracle. Our creation is a miracle. And in its own experience as a miracle, for sure, he's going to become happy. Also in this week's so there's a very interesting midrash about the splitting of the sea. After they crossed over this Shabbos called Shabbos Shira, the Sabbath of song, and after they crossed over to the sea, to the other side, they began to sing a song, the famous song we say every day in davening, Az Yashir. Then the children of Israel will sing. Then Moshe of Israel, Moshe and the children of Israel. And it said that as they sang, God complained, and he said, my children, meaning the Egyptians, are drowning, and my children, meaning the Israelites, are singing. You have to understand that according to religious context, the death of anyone is a very serious thing. And this is something God said, and he'll say in next week's reading of Yisro. We'll read about the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not murder. I guess it was 2009 years ago. I don't know exactly historically, but someone came to say that he was the Son of God. And if you read the Old Testament, as they call it, Tanakh as we call it, Sefer Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, you'll see, I think in 14:1, it says, Banim atem l'vayokechem, your sons to the Lord your God. And also in Exodus 4:22, it says, Beni b'cher Yisrael, my son, my firstborn Israel. And this concept that one person can be more of a son of God than someone else, I don't understand how it ever caught fire. I don't know how it ever took off. Every human being is a son of God, because God creates every single human being. He doesn't discriminate or differentiate between tall human beings or short ones, or one from the tribe of Judah, or one from the tribe of Levi, or one from the tribe of Binyamin. We're all children of God. And this is something that sometimes gets lost when you start putting a man in between you and God. You should know that you yourself have a very direct connection to God, and you don't really need anything in your way. At the end of this parsha, this is also the parsha where we first find out about the man, the bread that fell for the Jews for 40 years in the desert in a miraculous manner, because of course in the desert there's really not much to eat. And these are things that we can debate intellectually, if they happened, how they happened, why they don't happen now. But these are all things of faith, and it's not really, you're not going to get very far debating people of faith, and you won't get very far debating people who are somehow strangely sure that the laws of physics were never broken. Although, always point out to them that they had to be broken at some point, because the first law, I think, of the first law of conservation of energy and matter. I mean, it's just, the law of conservation of energy and matter states that it can neither be created nor destroyed. That's the if that's the law, how is there anything in the universe if it can never be created, meaning, and it can never be destroyed? I mean, how is there any physical reality to begin with? But meaning it had to come from someplace. So they always say that after the initial, what they call the Big Bang, then the law went into effect. It's a nice little intellectual out. Also in this parsha is Amalek, the first appearance of the first nation to attack the Jewish people. After the splitting of the sea, you have to understand it was the only time in the world, in the history of the world also, that people were scared of the Jewish people. And rightfully so. They had just seen 10 plagues brought on the Egyptians because of their harsh treatment of the Jewish people. And then they all heard about the splitting of the sea. This wasn't in the days of mass communication, but word did still travel. And Amalek, it's compared to Medrash. It's like, even though he jumped into a hot body of water, even though he knew he was going to get burned, just to show other people that it's not so bad. And Amalek was brazen enough to attack the Jewish people right after they left Egypt, and right after the sea split for them and killed their oppressors. And they did win the battle, but from then on, people felt okay attacking the Jewish people. It's an unfortunate trend that's continued all throughout history. And God says a very interesting thing, that this nation of Amalek, my name will not be complete until you wipe them out physically from the face of the earth. And that's pretty much it. It's called Shabbos Shir. Song in general, according to Hasidic doctrine, is something that can make you experience an ascent of the soul, which I try to explain as you're more in touch with your soul. Your body, in your eyes, is diminished, and your soul takes precedence. And this is achieved through song. It's also a custom on the Shabbos on Friday afternoon to feed birds, because there was when the manna first fell. So on Shabbos, he didn't want us to do any work to go and collect. He was trying to teach us about the holiness, the sanctity of the day of Sabbath. So he said, you're not going to find a portion on the seventh day. On the sixth day, you find the double portion. Take that, and on the seventh day, you won't find anything. So there's some wise guys who want to cause trouble. So what they did was they wanted to plant on the seventh day manna, and to show everyone, look, it came on the seventh day too. So there were birds that came and they ate the manna. So because the birds protected God's name, as it were, and Moses' promise, then we feed the birds. The Maharal of Prague, I think, actually used to feed them on Shabbos. I'm not sure. That's a halakhic question. That's pretty much it. The Rebbe said in this week's Parsha, this year fell out the same way as 5752, which is really the last year we heard from the Lubavitch Rebbe. And he said that soon we're going to merit to sing a new song in Beis Mikdash. It says, Az Yashir Shir Chadash, and then we're going to sing a new song. And there's going to be a song of Mashiach. So hopefully we'll merit to hear it. Still, the Erev Shabbos could happen later before Shabbos. Someone on Facebook said, wishing everyone a good Shabbos, and may last Shabbos be our last one in Gullus. So Amen, Geni Ratzon, and we speedily merit the greatest of divine revelations, which simply mean working towards a planet characterized by world peace and an end of economic disparity, eventually gathering all the Jews back to Israel and building the temple and living peacefully, every single child of God. Thank you.